This episode of the What's Happening Delco podcast is brought to you by Delco Meets for Business. Check us out on Meetup, register, and attend one of our fantastic networking meetings, which we meet on the first and third Thursday at the Brick House in Ridley Park, and the second and fourth Thursday at the Upper Crust in Newtown Square. We look forward to seeing you there. What's happening, Delco? I'm Rich Shane, and welcome to the What's Happening Delco podcast. Today, I'm joined by Jim Wurster of our Community Cup Coffee. Jim, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Rich.
Jim, what is our Community Cup Coffee?
So our Community Cup Coffee is a very small coffee roasting business. It's actually a nonprofit business run under our nonprofit called New Avenue Foundation. And we have a mission to train and employ people with disabilities.
Jim, how did you get started in coffee roasting and the whole coffee world?
Well, I guess about, I don't know, a long time ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I met someone somewhere at a conference, and we kind of hit it off. He was a father of an adult child with Down syndrome, and since my daughter had autism, we kind of hit it off, talked a lot, and he had started a coffee roasting business in Maryland. Primarily for his daughter, but for other people with disabilities to train and provide them jobs in the coffee roasting business.
When you started to delve into this, I mean, this sounds to me like something coffee and the roasting side of things, you've never had any experience in it. Talk about some of the journey, some of the things you learned along the way, and also working with those that are autistic or have Down syndrome and bringing them into that kind of environment.
Right. So for me, it was, I don't know, kind of a little struggle at first. We were involved with selling the coffee, learned a lot about the coffee beans, which are also an important discussion point, but also had to learn about the roasting process. So I learned initially from my friend Dave on small, very small coffee roasters, which were air fed. And these seemed like to be pretty simple in operation and simple in the roasting process. And I learned that for a while. But then I guess a few years ago, when we had an opportunity to partner with a friend of mine in a cafe that they were opening. It already had a coffee roaster in it, and it was really nothing like anything I had ever used in the past. So this was a totally different kind of a coffee roaster. It was called a drum roaster. It was much larger. It could roast 8 pounds of beans at a time. And I learned from a young woman who had worked at the prior owner, which was Burlap and Bean, and she had worked there as a coffee roaster barista for a number of years, and she trained me on the same machine that she had learned on. And I guess the other question you mentioned was, how is it working with people with disabilities in this type of a process? The process is not for everybody, and typically with people with disabilities, I try to learn what their skills are and see where it can best be used. So at this point, I found some people who were great in detail with packaging, and so they go through that process, weighing the coffee. They're very good at that. I haven't found too many people yet who are good at the actual roasting process, which is very detailed and kind of like cooking, where you have to watch it all along while it's cooking so that you can make adjustments to the temperature to make sure that you don't overcook your cake or undercook your cake. So that's pretty much the same thing with coffee roasting. So with people with disabilities, it definitely is a discovery process in learning what their skills are, not just in in our business of coffee roasting, but pretty much in any job that our kids get into.
You repeated process quite a few times, and there are quite a number of steps. And I asked about that experience for you because I'm quite sure there are listeners in our audience that either have those children or those young adults with disabilities or know some people that do, that all of a sudden this sparks an idea that says, all right, how do I get a hold of Jim? Because this could be a great outlet. And probably you can speak to this better about how this creates community and purpose in somebody's life that and discovery of themselves that they may not have right now.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard thing for us parents to try to figure out where our kids, when they become adults, are going to be. It's a very trying and stressful world that we live in. We're adults, and we've already gone through the path and the process of becoming adults and going through all the job opportunities. But kids with disabilities don't necessarily have the same opportunities that we had. So typically, what is happening is that parents usually start businesses whereby they try to come up with a business which fits the skill of their child. And then they keep these businesses very small. However, on the other side, with large businesses, some of the larger companies have been also coming on board to try to uncover what the skill is for our kids and then place it within their organization. There's a place in Newtown Square called SAP, and they are a huge global organization which has bought into this whole process of finding out what young adults with autism or other disabilities have and how it can fit into their business and where it can fit in. So it's definitely a hard thing to do, but we parents keep on trying to advocate for our kids.
Our Community Cup Coffee. What can people look forward to? Some of the projects you're working on, how people can find the coffee you're roasting?
Well, we roast at the Media Bean Cafe, which is in Newtown Square. And we actually have wound up branding coffee for many local organizations in and around Delaware Valley, Media, Springfield, Swarthmore, whatever. And we're helping them raise money, typically in coffee fundraisers, where we brand coffee for them and they sell it at their events or they sell it online. And it's kind of a win-win situation where both organizations work out. We keep our people trained and employed, and they get a share of the profit, and it's a win-win for everybody. So other places where you can get the coffee, we have a website. It's called ourcommunitycup.coffee. So it's a coffee URL, and you can order coffee there. You can also pick different brands that we are creating for other local nonprofits like Springfield Fire Company or Pendle Hill or the Wallingford Community Arts Center. So we partner with everybody to share and to help them. We can help you in coffee fundraisers, which is something that seems to be working quite well, where we brand the coffee for you. All you have to do is come up with a design, and we can go forward from there.
So I think that's fun. I think it's exciting. And look, no offense, but I would much rather be sold on some coffee than maybe some cookies or sweet things, or, coffee's always welcome. If you want to do a fundraiser for coffee, bring it on. I'm definitely welcoming of that.
Right. They are pretty good.
In the quiet moments of your day, Jim, what are some of the visions you have for our Community Cup Coffee, the growth, where you see it in the next couple of years?
Well, I kind of look not only at that, which is just one project under our nonprofit, but on how we can best service the community as a whole, and specifically people with disabilities and their families and caregivers. So we try to see. We're hoping that, first of all, the coffee business expands and grows, and we sell more coffee, which would be beneficial, so that we can bring in more employees, which is one of our missions. And generally, we're looking for other opportunities where not only can we partner with coffee, but we can partner with other organizations and businesses with this, which have a synergy with our mission, overall mission, which is to help people with disabilities have better lives through innovative social and employment programs. So these are the things that we've been kind of working on since we started back in 2013. So we're 11 years old this year.
Mention that website again and how people can connect with our Community Cup Coffee.
So our website is ourcommunitycup.coffee. And you can go there and learn about us more, learn about the coffees that we use, learn about the different coffees that we have, and the other organizations that we've partnered with. We're also on Facebook, Our Community Cup Coffee. We announce a lot of different things there. And we're also on Instagram, again, Our Community Cup Coffee. So it's kind of the same name across all of the social media outlets.
Jim, who mentors you? Who inspires you?
Well, our kids inspire me. So all of the families and young adults and now older adults that I've met over the years, including my daughter, who is 30, she's going to be 36. So kids grow up. Regardless of what we think, we can never keep them kids. They grow up, they mature, they change. And so she's kind of my driving force, along with all of the other kids that I know who I've met over the years and who have needs that aren't not necessarily met by our current society. So we try to do good in whatever ways we possibly can.
I have to ask this because it might be on a listener's mind. What's your favorite coffee?
My favorite coffee is a dark roast Ethiopian.
I know some coffee roasters are like, decaf is not coffee. Is decaf coffee, is that okay?
Well, for me, it is.
Okay.
We use a very good Colombian decaf coffee, and we typically roast it very dark. And the richness of the dark roast brings out a great flavor within the beans. So I typically enjoy it. You know, it's not like your normal decaf coffee that you're going to get. So it's different.
You're on your way to roast some coffee and you have a cheesesteak craving. Where are you heading?
Cheesesteak. That's interesting. I don't think we have a cheesesteak on my way to roasting coffee. I have to go really out of my way in order to get a good cheesesteak. But I've usually gotten some good ones at Jim's Steaks in, I think it's in Brookhaven.
Yes. Okay. All right. Is there a pizza go-to for you and your family, place you venture out to quite often?
We usually go to Bertucci's.
Bertucci's has not been mentioned on the podcast. That's so cool. I love it.
That's good.
All right. Now this is a question I'm curious as to your answer. You are, again, you're out and about. You may be heading to a meeting or meet with a new client or a family in any way, and you need a convenience store option. Where are you going? Royal Farms or Wawa?
That's a good question. I don't typically go to them, but I usually go to Wawa and also get gas.
Okay.
So I kill two birds with one stone.
How do you describe Delco? How do you explain Delco to somebody that's never heard of Delco or has never been here?
Well, Delco is a very passionate, sometimes overly passionate group of people and communities that are, to me, they're very concerned about really what a community is and how families are a huge part of a community. So I guess that's how I would look at it.
You have friends or family coming in from out of town and you want to give them or take them to that Delco experience. Where are you sending them or where are you taking them?
I probably would send them to, first of all, the media area, because there's a great number of restaurants there, and they can pick and choose whatever they want. And then I would probably also send them to the Havertown area, because they have some unique restaurants also.
So it's a food tour. It's a food tour for you, right?
Out to like during the day, they might want to go to Linvilla Orchards and walk around, and maybe if it was a good time, they could pick fruit.
Okay. Jim, is there anything we haven't talked about? Anything you want to share with the listener about you or more about our Community Cup Coffee?
Well, I'm a dad, father of two girls. One of them has a doctor's degree in psychology, and she lives in Paris and has lived there for a number of years. Probably will stay there forever. And then on the other side, I have a 35-year-old daughter who has autism and other disabilities, and she's required a lot of care over the years, and has now moved out of our house and is living in a group home, because we parents, we get older, and we require caregivers. So it's kind of a problem in our system as to when the caregivers get too old to provide the appropriate care for their child, then you have to find solutions for that. So that's another part of my advocacy and searching work that I do to try to help find solutions for people with disabilities.
Jim, I'm grateful for what you do to make the Delco community better. I'm grateful for your time today, and we really appreciate you being a friend of what's happening in Delco. And look, for fundraising, for opportunity to make a difference in the community, reach out to Jim, reach out to our Community Cup Coffee, and help make a difference. Jim, thanks so much for your time today, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
All right. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate it.
Hey, it's Rich. Thank you so much for being a listener to the What's Happening Delco podcast. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to learn more about the people and businesses in our community. I have been a real estate agent for over 25 years, working with first-time home buyers to last-time home sellers. As a listener of the podcast, my gift to you is a complimentary 1-year American Home Shield home warranty. This is for buyers and sellers that I help. If you're looking to move anywhere in the United States, I have you covered with an amazing network of real estate agents. I look forward to hearing from you. My direct line is 215-313-3777, or you can email me at rshaneremax@comcast.net. Oh, by the way, I am never too busy for any of your referrals.